Let me show you how a small device, hidden inside a uranium centrifuge platform, revealed one of the most sophisticated covert operations in the Middle East. Iran's Vice President Mohammad Javad Zarif just confirmed something that changes how we understand the ongoing shadow war between Israel and Iran, a war that's been fought not with tanks and planes, but with computer viruses, sabotage, and now, expertly concealed explosives. To understand how we got here, we need to go back and look at the complex web of sanctions, secret operations, and nuclear ambitions that led to this moment. Because what happened here isn't just about explosives in centrifuges, it's about how international sanctions created vulnerabilities that Israel was able to exploit, and how this fits into a broader pattern of covert operations that's reshaping power dynamics in the Middle East. Let's start with the sanctions. For years, Iran has been under intense international sanctions, particularly targeting their nuclear program. These sanctions were designed to prevent Iran from acquiring the technology needed to develop nuclear weapons. But here's the thing about sanctions. They don't just stop Iran from getting what they want. They force Iran to find creative, often risky ways to get what they need. Think about it like this. Normally, if you want to buy sophisticated industrial equipment, you go straight to the manufacturer. But Iran can't do that. Instead, they have to work through a complex network of intermediaries, middlemen who can help them circumvent these sanctions. And each one of these middlemen represents a potential security vulnerability, a weak link in the chain that could be exploited by Iran's adversaries. And that's exactly what happened here. According to Zarif, Iran's Atomic Energy Organization purchased what they thought was just a regular centrifuge platform, a crucial piece of equipment for enriching uranium. But when they inspected it, they found something else: explosives carefully embedded within the platform itself. This wasn't just some random act of sabotage. This was part of a carefully orchestrated campaign that Israel has been waging against Iran's nuclear program for years. And to understand why this matters so much, we need to look at the bigger picture of what's been happening in this region. Israel has long seen Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. They've made it clear they'll do whatever it takes to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. And over the years, they've launched a series of increasingly sophisticated operations to slow down Iran's nuclear progress. Remember Stuxnet? That was the computer virus that physically destroyed Iranian centrifuges back in 2010. It was the first time we'd ever seen a cyber weapon cause physical damage in the real world. Then there was the mysterious power failure at Iran's Natanz facility in 2021, which damaged thousands of centrifuges. And just last year, in September 2024, we saw something even more dramatic: the detonation of thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies that decimated the command structure of Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in Lebanon. Each of these operations shows us something important about how modern warfare is evolving. This isn't about armies facing off on battlefields anymore. It's about finding creative ways to exploit your enemy's vulnerabilities. And in Iran's case, those vulnerabilities were created in part by the very sanctions meant to contain their nuclear program. But here's where it gets really interesting. They're finding ways to turn Iran's attempts to evade sanctions into opportunities for sabotage. And the impact goes way beyond just this one incident. After the pager detonations last September, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps had to completely suspend their use of communication devices. The Civil Aviation Organization banned electronic devices on commercial flights. These aren't just inconveniences, they're signs of an organization forced to fundamentally change how it operates. But there's another side to this story that we need to consider. Every time Israel succeeds in one of these operations, it forces Iran to adapt. They find new ways to protect their programs, new routes to acquire technology, new methods to hide their activities. It's like a game of cat and mouse, but with nuclear stakes. And this brings us to the bigger question: what does all of this mean for the future? These revelations come at a time when tensions in the Middle East are already high. The shadow war between Israel and Iran isn't just about nuclear weapons anymore. It's about regional dominance, about who gets to shape the future of the Middle East. Look at what's happening now. Iran's nuclear program continues despite all these setbacks. Their proxy network, despite being hit hard, still extends across the region, and Israel keeps finding new ways to strike at Iran's capabilities, even as Iran works to make itself less vulnerable. This is where Zarif's admission becomes really significant. By acknowledging these vulnerabilities publicly, he's doing more than just explaining away a security breach. He's highlighting the real cost of sanctions, not just in terms of money or technological access, but in terms of security vulnerabilities that can be exploited by adversaries. And here's the thing about these kinds of covert operations: they exist in a grey area between peace and war. They're designed to achieve military objectives without crossing the threshold into open conflict. But each operation carries the risk of escalation, of pushing things just a little too far. We're watching a new kind of conflict unfold, one where the weapons aren't just bombs and bullets, but also computer viruses, hidden explosives, and compromised supply chains. It's a conflict that's reshaping how we think about warfare, about nuclear deterrence, and about the balance of power in one of the world's most volatile regions. The question now isn't just whether Israel will continue these operations or how Iran will respond. It's about what this new form of warfare means for global security. Because what's happening between Israel and Iran isn't staying between Israel and Iran. It's creating a playbook that other nations are watching closely, learning from, and potentially preparing to use themselves. What we are seeing here is more than just another chapter in the long-running conflict between Israel and Iran. It's a glimpse into the future of warfare, a future where the lines between peace and war are increasingly blurry, where the battlefield is everywhere and nowhere at once, and where the most dangerous weapons might not be the ones we can see, but the ones hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered.